Okay, so what if I told you there's a 2,000-year-old secret to happiness? One that completely flips our modern ideas of success and pleasure upside down. Well, we're about to dive into an ancient philosophy that offers a powerful way out of that constant chase for more. So let's just jump right in with this big question. Our world is constantly telling us that pleasure is about more stuff, more likes, more. But what if that whole idea is completely backward? What if the chase itself is actually what's making us unhappy? When most people hear the word Epicurean, they immediately picture these lavish feasts and wild parties, right? But that is a total misunderstanding of what Epicurus was all about. See, he wasn't after those fleeting, intense highs. His goal was something way deeper, a stable, lasting sense of inner peace and real contentment. So first up, we've got to completely rethink what pleasure even means. We're going to challenge that modern definition and explore a much older and maybe a much wiser perspective on it all. I know, it sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? How can some idea from 2,000 years ago have anything to do with our lives in 2025? Well, it turns out his philosophy is maybe more relevant now than ever. It's like a powerful antidote to the kind of anxiety that defines so much of our modern world. So, where did all this wisdom come from? Well, Epicurus wasn't just some philosopher thinking alone in a room. He actually created this amazing community called the Garden, just outside of Athens, where he and his friends lived out these principles every single day. You can kind of think of it as a practical school for happiness. And this, right here, is the core of it all. A happy life doesn't start with getting more things. It starts with understanding what you actually want in the first place. Epicurus realized that our own desires, they're the fork in the road that leads us toward either contentment or, well, misery. So Epicurus gave us this brilliant and really simple framework to help us sort through our desires. First, you've got the natural and necessary stuff. We're talking basic survival: food, water, a roof over your head. Meeting these needs brings contentment. Easy enough. Then you have the natural but unnecessary things, like a fancy gourmet meal instead of just simple food. It's nice, but you don't need it. But here's where the real danger is. That third category, the unnatural and unnecessary. This is the world of fame, insane wealth, social media likes. Epicurus saw this as a total trap because these desires have no limit. There's no end to them, so they'll always leave you wanting more. Okay, so if we're not supposed to be chasing every single desire that pops into our heads, what's the actual goal here? It's not about getting a temporary buzz. It's about finding something that lasts, a deep, stable sense of tranquility. The ultimate goal for Epicurus has a name: Ataraxia. He thought this was the highest form of pleasure you could ever experience. And it's not about excitement. It's really about freedom. From fear, from worry, from all that constant mental noise that messes with our peace. It's just a state of profound inner calm. And you can't really have that mental peace if your body isn't doing okay. That's where apnea comes in. It's simply the absence of physical pain. So by taking care of our basic needs, we build that stable physical foundation, that's apnea, and that allows the mental tranquility, ataraxia, to really grow. The two go hand in hand. You really can't have one without the other. So this is where it gets really practical. These ancient ideas aren't just some abstract philosophy. They're basically a toolkit for dealing with the very real anxieties we all face in modern life. I mean, just think about our world today. Consumerism is built to create unnatural desires we never knew we had. Social media, it's a relentless machine for chasing validation from other people. And FOMO, that fear of missing out, is literally just anxiety over not satisfying unnecessary desires. It's kind of wild, right? Epicurus basically diagnosed the root of our modern problems 2,000 years ago, and he warned us that tying our happiness to these bottomless pits is just a recipe for misery. So, what's the actual game plan? How do we get this kind of contentment in our own lives? Well, it starts with simplifying, really focusing on what's truly necessary. Then, and this is huge, it's about cultivating friendships. Epicurus said friendship was one of the greatest pleasures in life because it gives you security and joy. It also means actively practicing gratitude for what you already have instead of always wanting what you don't. It means finding real pleasure in learning and understanding the world. And ultimately, it's all about building a sense of self-sufficiency so your own worth isn't tied to what other people think. All right, let's start to bring this all together. It's so important to see that this Epicurean pursuit of happiness isn't about being passive or hiding from the world. No way. It's an active, very thoughtful process of designing a life that's genuinely and sustainably pleasant. So, if there's one big idea to take away from all this, it's a completely radical redefinition of pleasure. True pleasure isn't about the frantic chase for more things or more experiences. It's about the calm cultivation of a peaceful mind. It's about subtracting the things that cause us anxiety, not constantly trying to add more fleeting highs. So I'll leave you with a final practical question to think about. Just take a moment, be honest with yourself. What's one thing you're chasing? A new gadget, a certain job title, more followers online, that really truly falls into that unnatural and unnecessary category? And just imagine for a second, what would it feel like to simply let that desire go?